I'm here. If people are showing up, I'm here. I'm just trying to problem solve a little bit. Oh boy. Sometimes technology works and sometimes it doesn't. And for some reason, there was a problem with the previous stream that I had set up. So let's see if we can get this one going. I've got an excellent connection. I had to cancel out the old one, create a new one. Somebody's here. Oi, as they say. Still having issues with color and gamma and things in Ecamm Live. Welcome everybody. Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. I'm Jem Schofield. This is the C47 channel, and this is the weekly live stream. Starting a couple of minutes late because I had to restart it. It was really weird. I started it up, nothing was going on. If you wouldn't mind, if you are here, just say hi, hello, hola, whatever you want to say in the chat so I know that you can see and hear me. Then I'll know that we're at least off to the races. And we'll see what happens here. And then we'll start talking about things. But I do need to know that people are here. You can hear me. It's clear. Picture is clear. Again, email into Ecamm Live just about the discrepancies I'm seeing when it comes to the way my picture is processed in Ecamm Live as opposed to things like QuickTime Player, Zoom, that kind of stuff. So if you don't mind dropping a comment, even if you don't want to be part of the conversation, just like, yes, can hear and see you, that would be awesome. I do see there are a few people in here. And from there, we can kind of jump into conversations about the absolutely ridiculous, so far this week, ridiculous amount of announcements or number of announcements we've had related to new equipment. This is somewhat to be expected with IBC coming up next week, but it does seem like this is when companies are choosing very much so to release bigger products. Not all of them, though. What is it? The G9 Mark II? Is it 9 Mark II? That's a micro four thirds camera from Panasonic. So that dropped this week. But then we get bigger announcements. You've got things like the RE Sky Panel X coming out. You have the Burano from Sony, and then a small camera upgrade from a company called Apple. So lots of things happening. Here we go. Digital art video, great. Thank you for the confirmation. Brandon, good to see you. Feeling like, yeah, I've been around. Gorillakos? Sounds kind of Greek. Hello. Pick and sound are great. Okay, good. Yeah, I still want to dial this in. Again, seeing some differences between Ecamm and some other things. I might have to ping Ecamm again one more time. They're usually very responsive, and see if I can get this sorted out. It'd be nice to have a contrast slider in Ecamm as well. They have a brightness and they have a gamma, but I think a contrast would be good. So I might talk to them about that. I don't think that would be a big lift. Oh, I see. Okay, now I'm seeing the chat on Greekish on YouTube as well. And I'm going to close that window because just using resources I don't need to use when I have that open. Perfect. Okay, so I'm staying on top of the daily drop. The one thing today that I failed at miserably is I normally do a promo video, and I pushed that out to social. Should have shot it when I shot the episode, but time was not on my side yesterday. So I got the iPhone 15 Pro episode done. I had to, pop in some graphics and get that all, and then you have to play it all down. You have to make sure there aren't any big mistakes in there. And then I had to run out the door and drive my son to club basketball. So that just wasn't going to happen. I haven't shot tomorrow's daily drop yet, but it's set up over there on my left, and I'm gonna have to tackle that in the shirt that I wore last week. I should just get an outfit, like I said before, Steve Jobs, mock turtleneck, no, but something that I can easily attach a mic to, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So here we are. We have picture, we have sound. It's the weekly live stream, and the purpose of the weekly live stream is to go over anything if you do watch the daily drop, and clarify anything, go into more detail about equipment or topics that I've been discussing, and taking this time to do that. And secondly, to just answer your questions that are related to producing, to production. I just ask that in the chat that you put at theC47 before your question. It helps me kind of latch onto that in the comments and reactions in Ecamm, which is how I get the feed. Have it here on a relatively good size screen, which you may have seen in a recent episode where I'm talking about how I modified my sound blanket for bounce over here. So yeah, the only way the live stream works, daily drop is daily drop. I record it, I put it up there, and hopefully some people watch it, and hopefully a percentage of the people who watch it get something out of it, and educationally it helps them with things. But the live stream only works with interaction, with you being involved. So before you start asking questions, which I hope you do, and I'll start talking about some of the announcements this week in more detail, some housekeeping. If you check the live section of the C47 channel on YouTube, you will see that next week's live stream is posted. It's going to be on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday. So that's a change in terms of day. I do want to make sure I get the live stream in, but I have a production coming up next week, which is a small commercial shoot, and we are prepping Monday, Tuesday, and getting the locations set up. And then end of day Tuesday is equipment going into those locations, basically lighting, grip, electric. And then Wednesday is a pre-light for the commercial. Thursday is the shoot. And then Friday, hopefully food and wine. and shipping a drive out to the client. So we'll see how that all plays out, but it's going to be a heck of an adventure trying to get 5 episodes of the Daily Drop done next week with the production happening. There's been a lot happening this week leading up to it. It's already challenging, but I'm going for it. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll get a video promo up every day on social to promote it, or the reminders going out every single day, but I'll try. And just know that if, again, housekeeping wise, that usually, except for today with the iPhone episode, and occasionally if there's some sort of super sale or something, episodes drop. I schedule them for every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So that's when they're going live, and that's the deal with that. And then, the challenge is up. So the eBay cinema camera challenge is also up in the live section of the C47 channel. And that is for October 4th, 2023. So you're supposed to be involved in that. It's a $20,000 budget eBay challenge. You go and pick a camera package with lenses and all that fun stuff. Caleb did a write-up on it. I posted it. There's an email address, and you have to submit by October 1st. You got a couple of weeks. It's not that hard. Sit down on eBay, put together a package, create a PDF 16 by 9, send it to me. Your name on the first page, your company, whatever you want to do, and then you put screenshots and your $20,000 budget, and we feature it on the live stream. We talk about it and we have fun, and we usually give each other a hard time, which is also good. All right, Brandon, on that iPhone 15, using the 45 megapixel sensor being used to clear image zoom, in quotes, will be great to remove the funky AI banding between lenses when manually zooming. I hope so. I mean, there's a lot of things that are question marks on this iPhone 15 Pro, especially because they're now starting to put in some things like log recording. ProRes has been there, but that's also part of the package, and external recording. So, interesting stuff. Aces, you know, I think I edited out the part where I had talked about Aces, and Aces is messy for the industry. So now you're talking about putting Aces and that workflow into an iPhone. Little redonkulous. Kind of cool with the tethered shooting for Capture One. Look, it's happening. We have advances in all of this stuff, and it's you know, I need to drink more water today. So I think I'm getting one. The credits are good on AT&T. I have my iPhone 13 paid off. I'm not planning to switch carriers right now. I'm in the ridiculous grandfathered plan that I'm never changing, and they keep trying to make me change, and it's just not going to happen. So I'm probably going to drop a few hundred extra dollars on the 512 gigabyte model of the iPhone Pro, not the Max. I don't want a giant phone in my pocket. And quite honestly, David, good to see you. While I like that 120 millimeter equivalent lens, I'm sitting pretty with a range that's essentially macro to 77 millimeter equivalent. I think that's going to do me just fine. And I have a smaller phone. I like the size of the 6.1 inch. Honestly, I'd really like an SE, size phone, but what are you going to do? And for the most part, I'm using this phone for calls, for texting, and for production, photos, video, blah blah blah. So I think I'm going to do that, and I think it's the right choice. I'm happy about the faster USB connectivity on the iPhone 15 Pro. I will say the 15 for the money looks like quite a lot of phone there. You've got a 48 megapixel camera now. It's the other stuff. And here's the other questions. I saw Tyler Stallman, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, posted something about whether or not there's going to be control over shutter and white balance and things like that. You can lock white balance in, but you're not dialing it in based on Kelvin temperature. You have to go to things like Filmic Pro for that. And of course, Filmic Pro has had log recording prior to this being added to the iPhone 15 Pro in the native camera app. But it is that lack of control. But the big question mark for me is, what's supposed to be happening with iOS 17 is third-party developers are supposed to be able to tap into cinematic mode. But all of the stuff that I've read is really from the standpoint of being able to work with the files. And it's not, by the way, cut and dry with Final Cut Pro. It's not like you just plug your phone in and all of a sudden cinematic mode videos show up. It's kind of a pain. I'm sure there's a better workflow, but if you go to the white papers on Apple's website and you talk about working with cinematic mode videos, it's this weird, it works sometimes, it doesn't work other times. You attach your phone, it says it needs to process those videos internally in the phone first. It's usually faster to go through the Photos app. I still haven't licked how to deal with cinematic mode in a seamless way with Final Cut Pro. I'm sure some of you have worked that out. I haven't. And I hope that with iOS 17 it's better. But coming back to what I was talking about, everything that I've read says that you're going to be able to edit cinematic mode in other apps. So hopefully that means all of these other third-party apps, along with iOS version of Final Cut. I was talking about the desktop version. But are you going to be able to integrate capturing in cinematic mode in third-party applications? Because then you've kind of got it sorted, right? You go Filmic Pro, not happy it's subscription now, but that's just how you make a company survive. Let's just very briefly, before we keep going on, acknowledge the fact that Adobe as a company probably wouldn't be where they are right now if they had stuck with a, you know, um, perpetual license business model. And you can see that they sort of led the pack when it comes to all of the other companies. And it's frustrating. I mean, I have Capture One, and it's like, it's just, you would at least hope that the camera support is included with the previous versions. All right, enough of that. I'm stitching and bitching, and really we need to talk about production. So let's get some questions going in the chat. Don't be shy. It's change your avatar to an X or something like that. Just kidding. But let's get some conversation going here with an at theC47 like Brandon did, and let's talk about some of the announcements besides that. So we've got the iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro. They're going to sell them. People are going to use them, and 3 years from now, we're going to be laughing at how archaic they were in terms of their capabilities. But big strides, and interested in low light performance and all of that stuff. But there's still a huge gap in my mind between an incredibly capable mirrorless camera and a phone, and also what you need to do with the phone. Also, the Burano, little island, right? Little place near Venice, kind of like a baby Venice 2, but not really. Kind of like a grown up FX9. It's a mashup. It's a Frankenstein, but not really, because it looks nice, of those two cameras, and really designed for camera operators, right? So Venice 2 is really designed for an episodic television commercial narrative workflow, where you have a camera operator and you have a camera assistant, and they are working together but independently in terms of what features of the camera system are being used. So, left camera body, right camera body. We'll just say left camera body, camera operator, right camera body, camera assistant. This is really for a solo operator. Body weighs less than 5 pounds. CF Express B cards, 8K plus sensor. Some high frame rate options, but some things are reserved for the Venice 2. And really the beginning of the shift. I mean, I would argue that you can look at a C500 Mark II, C300 Mark III, and say those are digital cinema cameras that integrated AF systems. So is the FX9, full frame but not badged as Cine Alta. When we look at a camera like the Burano, you're starting to see that they're giving upstream and downstream features. Some stuff's coming from downstream, from the higher end cameras, some stuff heading upstream from the lower end cameras. And the fact that we have that variable ND system, and you've got that going up to, I believe, 7 stops of ND. I think it goes up to a 2.1. And then you've got the AF system inside of there. When you attach E-mount lenses, you're obviously starting to take advantage of that kind of stuff. But PL mount lenses, it's an interesting camera. It's also a camera that I would, with probably great confidence, say that almost anybody here is not going to purchase unless they feel that, as a DP, it's a good investment and they can sub-rent it and they can make it something that they make their money back on. So, that's it, but it's a really interesting camera, and I think it's going to do well for the market that it's going into. I think it makes a lot. Hey, small brown fox. I think it makes a lot of sense, the Burano, for rental houses. Of course, so do the higher end cameras, the Alexa LF or large format cameras, the Alexa 35, Venice 2, red cameras. All of those things make a lot of sense, but if you want to kind of have the best of both worlds and you want to have a rental where you're getting a lot of features and you could use it for lots of different types of productions, I think the Burano makes a lot of sense. Now the question is FX9, FX6. Do we see Mark IIs of those? Do we start to see some more upstream coming from those mirrorless cameras and that technology into those cameras? I doubt we'll see that this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it, sometime by spring of next year. And then there's Canon. The C70 has been on the market for quite some time. So has the C300 Mark III. Another announcement that dropped this week is that Canon is now releasing their cine lenses in RF mount. Whether they're just remounted or they're new lenses, I'm not 1000% clear. But it does mean that it opens up the door for them to start doing some other things, hopefully, with their cameras. We'll see. Fingers crossed. And then I kind of feel like now with Burano, Sony's kind of laid their stuff out on the table, and it's just insane. I mean, the A7 series in all of its iterations is just mind-blowing in terms of how many cameras there are. Petapixel did something on that, Chris and Jordan. It's just, it's bonkers. It's too many SKUs. It's too many models. But they definitely are busy in the R&D department over at Sony, and they're doing a lot of stuff. And then there's other rumors. We may get another camera announcement this week. We'll see what happens. If anybody else has any things to bring up in the chat about that, that's great. SkyPanel X, total redesign of the SkyPanel. It's really now not a soft source that you can make slightly harder with a lensing system with small, essentially RGBW. It's Wednesday. LEDs that are really, really tuned for Alexa cameras. This is RGB ACL. This has large lensed LEDs and can be used as a single unit or multiple units as a hard light to really reach places, or it can be used as a soft light with modifiers. And really interesting. I haven't read yet what the price point's going to be. It now totally confirms the price drop on the original Sky panels. I still have Sky panels here, and I think they're great lights, but they have been around for a long time. They are showing their age, and I guess Ari agrees, and that's why they came out with these new lights. DOP Choice already making modifiers for Sky Panel X. They're going to do well. And the fact that they're so versatile in terms of hard versus soft light means they're going to do even better, and they're going to be the darling of rental departments. But I think, it's more competitive now in that space, and we're going to have to see at IBC what Aputure does, if Nanlite does anything else. Another announcement from around the Build Expo last week. Nanlite released new 300 and 500 watt bicolor LEDs, and the price points are great. I mean, you've got that 500 coming in at $700 US, so a lot of light, a lot of value in there in terms of what you get. I feel like I'm missing another big announcement. Maybe it just hasn't happened. What else do we have? All right, enough of you listening to me. That's boring. We're at about the halfway mark. And again, thank you for finding the stream again. There was a technical difficulty with the first one that went out there. So I 86'd it and then started up a new one with the same description. I'll get rid of the other one if it's up there, and we'll make sure that it's all clean and purdy. And then when I'm done here, whether we go for a full hour or not, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to shoot another episode of the Daily Drop, and then I'll edit that and I'll push it up to the world and schedule it for 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. And then I'll have to do another one tomorrow as I prep for this commercial shoot. So there you go. Panasonic G9 and Blackmagic tomorrow, maybe. Yeah. Okay, David. Yep. Yeah, that G9 Mark II, which is a micro four thirds camera, which to me is really, from what I've seen, more photographer centric than it is video centric. Not that all of these cameras can do video now, but there you go. Do I know what Blackmagic is releasing tomorrow? I do not. And it has not been discussed, really. We can discuss it if people have. I haven't gone to any rumor sites, so I don't know. Sometimes Blackmagic is just absolutely exceptional at keeping things close to their chest in terms of what they are going to release. And then you watch Grant and he takes you through it and you see the stuff and then there it is and it's part of the world and we have new cameras. I can say that I hope, my wish is that we are going to get a a different form factor in a camera. I have heard no rumors to that, but I am really hoping. I'm moving this reference image here because I'm really kind of sick of staring at my own face on that main screen, which is ridiculous, and why would I want to? So I'm just making an adjustment here. And please get back into the chat and also tell me, because I have been having issues with Ecamm, but does the color and contrast and stuff seem okay? Because there is a discrepancy between Ecamm Live and QuickTime Player and Zoom and how they're processing the image. And again, I'd like them to have some sort of contrast option inside of here. But you know, let's get some questions going in here. If you want to gossip, let's gossip. We can, if you got some skinny, as they call it, then share. But if you want to, you know, ask questions about things or get opinions about stuff, I'm game for that too. David says everything seems fine. Fine, I say, is the is one of the worst words in the English language, because if something's fine, then it's mediocre. It's mediocrity at its best. So how's everything going today? It's fine. So hopefully it's a little better than fine, but I got a thumbs up. And L mount suits me, as I have plenty of L mount glass. I may dabble if it excites me. Are you talking about the G9? What are we talking about? The panty? I don't think Blackmagic's going L mount. Oh no, maybe they are. Are they part of that consortium? They are, aren't they? Maybe they are. Would they go? Yeah, I guess they have a decision to make over at Blackmagic. They kind of have to go with a different mount. And Komodo obviously went RF. Canon, of course, is going to go RF. But they are part of that, aren't they? Who are the companies? Is it Sigma, Panasonic, Leica? I don't know. Oh, you saying that's the rumor that you're very confident about? SBF. DJI as well. Is part of the consortium for L mount? Are they using that? They're not using that on Hasselblad, are they? Maybe they are. Educate me, kids. Let's go. I need some information. What are all the companies that are part of the consortium of L mount? I want to know. Tell me. Confident. Got it. Come on, kids. Things are happening here. Start talking some more. Questions. Conversations. Let's get going. Now I feel like I've already talked about all the announcements. I'd like to talk about them some more. Get your thoughts on them. What you think about these things. Can be everything from an iPhone to Burano to... Yeah, I said them all. Okay. Sigma, Panasonic, Leica, DJI, apparently Blackmagic. Just seeing if anything came in from the interwebs that relates to this. I don't know. All right. There we go. So if Blackmagic comes in, B&H is just doing a thing on Skypan. It's not like I'm getting a ticker inside of here with information. I see I looked away. We lost 4 people. Done. That's it. So if Blackmagic goes L mount, that's kind of a big deal. Because they're definitely in the mix. Interesting. Then we are kind of living in, I mean, if we take the micro 4/3 part of it out, then we're really kind of living in, outside of PL mount, we're really living at 3 mounts, right? RF, L, and E for the majority of the cameras. Those, it's really just Sony that's using E mount, and then of course Fuji has X mount, but it's really just Fuji that's using X mount. So it seems like L and, of course, prior to this, EF, but now RF are going to be sort of the ones that we might see in multiple cameras from multiple camera manufacturers. Is that about right? That's what I'm thinking. And hopefully we get a box or a rectangle from Blackmagic. I'm kind of tired of their pocket camera ergonomics, to be honest with you. David says, I think Canon RF is in danger, especially if they don't open up to third-party manufacturers. Well, I guess technically they did with Red, right? I mean, that must have, unless Red just reverse engineered it and said, here's RF mount. That's a good question, because you see EF everywhere. You would think, because Canon is not just a camera manufacturer like Red is, that they would want, like with EF, people to adopt RF, because that just means, okay, we're not selling you the camera body, but we're selling you the lenses. So there you go. Everyone is tired of whose wide form factor. Oh, yeah. The Blackmagic pocket cinema cameras. We're done with that, It was never cute. The only thing that was cute was the original pocket cinema camera. That little 1080p little monster with arguably one of the worst battery lives of any camera that's ever existed, but had a really lovely image. I like that sensor. I also liked the 2.5K sensor that they had. I thought that one was a nice camera. Those are probably my 2 favorite sensors from Blackmagic to date. No expert, but, used them, seen the footage. That's where I'm sitting on that stuff. Okay. You're kind of quiet over there in the chat. Let's get some questions, or somebody start up another topic. If you've come in recently or dropped off recently, the challenge is up, and there you go. So that's the eBay Cinema Camera Challenge, and that's up on the live section of the channel. So you want to check that out, and please get your submissions in. Brandon says, everyone seems to be up in arms about ND and IBIS. Doesn't DJI do that already? And what are you referring to, Brandon? Are you talking about Blackmagic or whatever? Greg says, is new Sony camera native E-mount that comes with PL adapter? Greg, I might be wrong, but I think the Burano camera is native PL mount, and then you adapt it to other things. Somebody let me know. Yeah, I don't know if the new Burano is groundbreaking, Brandon, but I think it's the fact that they're combining all of these technologies into a Cine Alta camera, which is like a baby Venice 2. So you're getting tons of that kind of stuff. people aren't necessarily reinventing the wheel right now, but they're definitely, they're definitely bringing stuff. Ryan, Matthews Mini and Travel Boom Kit looks like something I might need in the future. Announced today on No Film School. 1 second. Let's see what we got. Don't usually hang over at No Film School lately, but why not? Let's see what we got. First thing, shoot full frame 8.6K with Sony's compact Cine Alta Burano camera. Take your lighting on the go with this mini boom rolling kit. Oh yeah, no, I've seen this. So this was announced a little while ago. It's not like the Mini Max, but definitely that low center of gravity in terms of the weight. I like that they have BOA bags on there. Some of my favorite. I use them all of the time. I have bought many. But yeah, I love the stuff that Matthews makes. It's really good. So let's see. SBF says, I wanted Lumix to release an S1H Mark II as I have the Mark I, but they are too slow. I have some choices to make if this drags on, considering a Komodo X. Interesting. Yeah, this we have a commercial shoot coming up. I think we're going to shoot red on that because of the DP and is an owner. Brandon says, I'm a C500 Mark II user, so it's interesting to see what Sony is doing, hoping to see what Canon does with the C500 to the C500, but I'm worried we won't see anything for a long time in C500 world. Yeah, it's I haven't heard anything on the rumor mill right now about a Cinema EOS camera coming out in the very near future. I would love for them to come out with another full frame cinema camera, though I will say the C500 Mark II, and I did a whole course on that camera, which is up on MZ and MZ Pro. It's still holding its weight. I mean, there's certain things that you might want to have in the camera system, but the sensor's sharp and it is a really fantastic camera. I don't know what street price is on that camera now, but we were looking in last week's live stream on Camera Flask at it, and used ones are going sort of in that $8,500 to $9,500 range. So I mean, it really does punch, I think, above its class in terms of what you're getting from the camera. And the R5 C, somebody actually made a comment on one of my videos, what I thought of it now. I mean, I did the training series on it not that long ago. I think it's one of the most capable hybrid cameras out there. Sony is winning the race when it comes to AF, but that R5 C with 8K and everything else, it's so capable, and they have a huge rebate on the camera right now. So it's I think it's definitely under $4,000 US, but I think it might be considerably under. Some of you might want to just head over to the B&H's and go check that out. Wouter, hey everyone. I've been off the grid for a while. Yes, you have. All okay, but very little energy for YouTube. Miss chatting with you guys. Well, thank you for coming over here. I appreciate it, and it is incredibly important to take care of yourself. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with these daily episodes, but it is kind of actually in a weird way taking care of me. Social media is a disease. I have never subscribed to it being a part of my personal life in a traditional way. It's just an awful place. And, when Threads launched and everybody just trashed Twitter/X/Twitter, the writing was on the wall. It was only going to take a short period of time before the ugly came out, and it's there now. I mean, it's ugly just like all of the other platforms, and there's some moments there, and it's cute when you see something from a family member on Facebook, or a colleague does something and you see it on LinkedIn. I wouldn't say that's cute, but it's nice to see those things. But the reality is it's an awful place, in my opinion. And, I flip through videos and I learn a lot of things on things like YouTube. And sometimes I learn things flipping through because of my interests. and other people that I know and their interests. So I'm getting, shared videos or videos that have been liked by people that I know on Instagram Reels and things like that. But the reality is that I have no time for interacting with people over social media. I think LinkedIn is probably the more serious platform, and I do connect with people that way, and that's been valuable to me. But I don't know the rest of it. Bleh. So I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, Wouter, and I'm glad you stopped by to say hi. David says, talking about Panasonic being slow, still no EVA Mark II on the horizon or in the horizon. Yeah, that horizon. Uh, there's a place, Purgatory. That's where the EVA Mark II is. It's not coming anywhere out of here. Blah. Okay. Bill says, I'm so tired from work. I'm falling asleep. Are you sure you're not falling asleep because of me, Bill? It's possible, Here we are in the live stream. I'm, I only have so much charisma, but it's a lot easier when I have Caleb and Ben around. David says, I watched your Canon R5 C course and it was great. Well, thank you. I even get an exclamation point. So great. I caught myself having it in B&H's cart and had to stop myself because I don't really need it. Good for you, David. And I mean that. I'm being sincere. It takes, it takes courage. It takes there's a word for it that I'm not thinking of, but it's you stop yourself. Okay. Greg says Burano internal raw capability. Yes. It's a flavor of the raw recording from the Venice 2. It's the one that I believe has like a 60% footprint, but I do believe it's a 16-bit linear processing for internal recording. I may be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure I've kind of got that right, about 95%. And that's going to CF Express B cards because they're fast enough for that, at least for the flavor that they have. So they've reserved a couple of those raw recording, internal recording flavors. I think they're internal on the Venice 2. Not really that familiar with that to that camera, but there is a raw recording option on the Sony. And they've also included some recording formats that are not in the Venice 2, but are in some of their other, they come upstream stuff. It's not just you, Bill. Come on, we're boring. I'm boring. So Brandon says, I watched Caleb and CVP's overview of the Nisi lenses. I'm actually really impressed at the price point. I shoot on Vistas, but it would be awesome to have a set like the Nisi's for small travel package. Yes, I'm really interested. I think they're looking pretty awesome. I'd love it if they add a 40, but I'm a full frame 40 kind of person. 40's in my rear view mirror, but 40 millimeter lens on a full frame 36 by 24 camera. Probably my favorite focal length, I have to say. Yeah, 35, 50, and 85 for only $3K is pretty great. I heard they punch way above their class. And again, we're talking about C500 Mark II punching above its class. I like having something in that 21 to 28 millimeter range as well. You could sit at somewhere around the 25, and we're talking about on a full frame camera. I really like a 21. When you're on a crop sensor, super 35 millimeter APS-C, I just, part of it is the depth of field qualities of a 40 millimeter on a full frame, but part of it just has to do with angle of view. And, there is a difference between a 27 and a 40 in terms of distortion or how, a person's going to look. But you're still kind of in that normal, starting to get into that normal range at around 27, 28 millimeters. So a 27 millimeter is roughly equivalent to a 40 millimeter field of view on a full frame camera. So I like 27s too. I have my partials there. So there you go. Look, now we're cooking. People are in the chat saying things. Time is flying. That's the way it's supposed to be with a live stream. It's not supposed to be, let's figure out what we're talking about and all that kind of stuff. So the more you're posting things in there, it gives me some stuff to feed on, and it gives us things to, have conversations about. Thoughts on Panasonic? Thank you, Brandon, for keep doing this. And everybody else, come on, jump on in. Thoughts on Panasonic keeping Micro Four Thirds alive with the G9. Interesting to see them keeping it going. Well, they have a lot of cameras and they have a lot of lenses in Micro Four Thirds, and it's not a bad format. It's obviously not as large as APS-C, but there are some advantages to that, and that's really on the reach side of it. You can have small lenses that reach a lot more, but they're still wide. And it's now that we're starting to see computational computing. I'm probably just making that shit up. Inside of things like smartphones, where we're able to take teeny tiny little sensors and say, oh, it's a 120 millimeter lens. It's not a 120 millimeter lens. It's a tiny prism based system, which with the sensor and the way they process the image and everything else and all of this, I say, kind of the pull the wool over your eyes and the Wizard of Oz stuff and the AI and everything else. All of a sudden now, with all that technology and depth mapping and LiDAR and all those things, they're able to approximate, a field of view and also a depth of field that's equivalent, right? And the field of view part is pretty easy. That's a teeny tiny sensor, but it has more reach because it's small and the way it interacts and, blah, 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 optics, sensor, all that. It's messy. But the reality is, it's things like portrait cinematic mode that are the things that are starting to push us in that. So what I'd really like to see is I'd like to see if Panasonic sticks with Micro Four Thirds, start to put some things into those cameras that are letting us take advantage of the advancements of what's happening with AI and everything else, and using a smaller sensor like that. So let's see what you can do with that, Panasonic. Yeah. David says, hope that Blackmagic does the same regarding Micro Four Thirds, and also a full frame. So are you saying you hope they advance that and do some more stuff with it? I think the Micro Four Thirds ship has sailed with Blackmagic, to be honest. I think that we are in a I don't know if it's going to be a wind down, but Panasonic's for sure in the full frame game as well. So they've got decisions to make. Are they going to do another G series that's very video centric? Are there some cool things that they can do? I'd be interested to find out on that G9 how awesome and amazing the AF is. Has it really, because they're putting people, car, animal, train crap in there and all that. So I don't know, are they really doing that already in that camera? I have no idea. Yeah. Yeah, Olympus though, I mean, we're not seeing a lot coming from them, right, Brandon? But Okay. SBF says, I hope BM goes full frame, but not holding my breath. It's not a big jump for them. It's not a lens mount issue. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, you stick with EF, it's kind of like, EF lenses were not designed technically for mirrorless cameras. But we'll see. Louder says, I'm holding off investing in Micro Four Thirds until I'm sure I'm not jumping to full frame. And I still think there's a huge market for 35, super 35 millimeter and APS-C. And interesting to see, another camera that dropped. Fuji, new 100 Mark II. That's an interesting camera. It's what, 7,500 $7,500 US. Lenses aren't cheap, but you're talking about, you're getting close to having an IMAX in your pocket. They're incredibly small form factor, medium format cameras. And so I think they're interesting. All right, let's wind it down. What else we got for the last couple of minutes? I've got a reset over here, and I don't know how many cameras I'm going to use today. I'm at least using this one and probably 2 more over there, and I've got to figure out how I'm shooting the episode. I could easily do it through the A10 Mini, where I'm switching the 3 cameras as part of the stream, and I could just record it into QuickTime Player. That would force me to keep the episode at 1080. Yeah, there you go. Do I have a sneak peek of what's to come next week? Are you talking about announcements or with next week's live stream? If it's the live stream, it's we talk about the daily drop if people want to do that. If not, it's going to be your questions. If we get new equipment, like if Blackmagic announces something this week, we're for sure talking about that and any other announcements. And we've got IBC coming, so there'll probably be some more stuff. All right, got a couple more things here before we wrap up. Super 35 is just such a sweet spot for so many companies. They don't have to spend insane amounts of money on building cameras, great sensors, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying it's blah, blah, blah. And lenses are smaller, right? And so many lenses available. So I think that's great. David says, I'm doing B-roll on a cardboard boat race this Sunday for a web series. Cardboard boat race. How big are these boats? I hope there's humans in them, because I'd like to watch that. That would be pretty funny. David says daily drop still going strong. Been great. I'm going to shoot the next episode in about 5 minutes, or at least get it set up, and then I got to edit it and put it up into the universe place and the YouTube's depository. What is that? I'm just making stuff up. Brandon, you have a good one as well. I'll see you on the next stream. Again, a reminder, next week the stream is on Tuesday. Tuesday, everybody. That's when it's going to happen. So mark your calendar. No stream on Wednesday, because I am going to be doing a pre-light during that period of time. Right when that's happening, normally at this time, I'll be pre-lighting for the commercial shoot that we have next Thursday. I am not the DP on the project. I am directing. I'm producing the project, but I have ideas about, and I talked to my peeps about it. Pleasure as always. Thank you for coming to the reposted live stream. I'll go over and clean stuff up on the channel on that. Yeah. What do you say? Oh, that's pretty funny. Look, David, when that thing goes out into the world, I want to see something about these cardboard boat races. I'm very interested on that one. So just keep us in the loop about it, and maybe you'll give us a link on a future stream about it. If you have questions, send it to contact@theC47.com. Challenge at theC47.com for the Camera Flask eBay digital cinema camera challenge, if that's what it's called, something like that. Just go to the live section of this website. Do me a favor. Likes are great. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Tell people there's daily content. The more comments and the more interaction I get, the more I get ideas about the type of content I want to create here. Just like with the live stream, it's this interaction that's important. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. And there we go. That's another one. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop. See ya. Bye, kids.